30 seconds. We'll let everybody come into the room and then we will begin. All right, welcome everybody. Tonight's travel talk is with Celebrity Cruises. My name is Scarlett Hiller and I'm the franchise partner of Expedia Cruises in the Twilliger Windermere location. Our travel talks are being offered to you by the 6 Expedia Cruises offices in the Edmonton and area. These talks will hopefully provide you with some thoughts and ideas for future travel, of course, when it is safe to do so. For those that have not attended a Zoom meeting, everyone is muted. You have control of your video, so you can choose to show us your smiling face or turn your video off. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please use the chat feature and we will either answer them through the presentation or wait till the end, and between Chad and I, we will get your questions answered. So later this year and coming very soon, it will be our time to travel or start traveling again. Many people are starting to dream, they're planning, they're booking their next vacation. And many of us cannot wait to start traveling again. Ready to dust off that passport, pack our suitcases and head off on our next adventure. A new cruise adventure, hopefully with Celebrity Cruises. Our consultants, our team of advisors or consultants are here to help you every step of the way to plan that next adventure. More than ever, the need for a travel advisor is so important. As a result of this pandemic, travel has become slightly more complicated, but the advisors understand those complexities and will work hard to make your next trip as safe and as seamless as possible. Our consultants or advisors are committed to finding you the best vacation options and pricing. We have Expedia Extra programs, so you can get extra amenities through the various cruise lines. And we're more than just cruise. Our name is Expedia Cruises, and we have added the tagline, land, air, and sea vacation, so we can handle every vacation you have. Our consultants will offer you advice you can trust and will always be there for you. Definitely an advantage for shopping local with an Expedia Cruises office. Things are changing very, very rapidly. There's been talks in the last, well, today about hopefully the Quarantine Act in Canada will change where vaccinated client or passengers won't need to quarantine. So that's fantastic news if that happens. Many cruise lines are making announcements of traveling or cruising out of Alaska for this summer, July, August, and September. So fantastic news. Cruises like Celebrity Edge will be traveling and cruising out of Fort Lauderdale starting in June. So that is great news. Again, Celebrity Cruises starting in the Galapagos for July. And then Europe. Europe will be in full force this year with cruises out of Southampton through the Mediterranean. So that is all fantastic news for us cruisers that want to get back at it. So now to introduce our host for tonight's travel talk, Chad from Celebrity Cruises is here for us, and he is here to present everything to do with Celebrity Cruises. So we welcome you, Chad, and the floor is yours.
Thanks very much, Scarlett, and thank you everybody for being here to spend some time with Celebrity Cruises tonight. It feels like it's been an eternity about talking about that point when we were going to get back to service and back in the water. And someday is here. As Scarlett mentioned, some really big announcements, and really excited to say that we are putting our crew back on the ships and getting ready And starting next month in many parts of the world, cruising is going to be happening again, and it's going to look pretty darn close to what everybody remembers cruising as. So we're excited. Someday is here. Lots to talk about and kind of showcase for you tonight. So just a quick mention for housekeeping. If you run into any tech troubles, just log out and log back in. We'll still be here and the presentation will keep going. There is a Q&A box. So for those of you that attend some Zoom events, just look at your bottom taskbar there and you've got your Q&A box. This is being recorded. So if you need to reference back, talk to your travel consultant from Expedia and they'll be able to help you out with that. And without further ado, let's get rolling into the good stuff and do some vacation planning. So in terms of the agenda for tonight, I'm going to talk a little bit about what it means to have a healthy return to service. I'm going to show you a bit of a sneak peek at our new ship, which has set the bar, I think, higher than the travel industry or certainly the cruise industry has ever known for what luxury looks like. And going to talk about our global destinations and what our deployment looks like for 2022 and 2023. Also, when you attend an event like this, we want to make sure that we give you a great booking incentive. So I'm going to kind of run through what we'll be able to work with our partners at Expedia to give you the very best deal for booking your next vacation. So first and foremost, getting back to cruising. Our healthy return to service is what we refer to it as. And, you know, globally, we are rolling out now our healthy return to service plan for our guests, for our crew, for the communities that we visit. And everything that we do has to be a balancing act between making sure that we've got the best health and safety protocols in the industry, or in travel in general, or in hospitality, but also to temper that against the fact that you have certain expectations of what it feels like to go on a celebrity cruise and to be pampered and to have an enjoyable experience. And that, I can assure you, based on what we saw today for what's about to roll out next week for the health and safety protocols, I think the majority of you will have a hard time discerning what the differences were from what cruising used to feel like. A lot of stuff behind the scenes to make sure everybody is staying safe, but it's really exciting to know that the experience is not going to be impacted. Just so you know, we also want you to feel comfortable and confident with what we're doing. So it's not the cruise line and our teams that have sat down and said, "Hey, here, you know, here's what we think we should do to make our guests feel safe." We have the Healthy Sail panel. They've been guiding us this entire time. This is the absolute creme de la creme of the world of health and science. We have a former director of the CDC. We have a former director of the FDA. We have some of the very most brilliant minds in health and science that have come together that make up our Healthy Sail panel. And as the pandemic rolled along, and as we learned a lot more and what it takes to keep people safe and mitigate issues, we've come out with kind of the gold standard, if you will, of not just what would work well in a cruise environment, but what probably will be incorporated into most resorts, and anybody traveling internationally, you're going to start to see a lot of the same things. So I know when I was invited to do this event with the team from Expedia, one of the components that they really wanted me to dive into was what our new health and safety protocols are going to look like. The announcement and the rollout of all of those new health and safety protocols is scheduled for Wednesday of next week. So we're a little bit ahead of schedule to be here tonight, because the actual, you know, black and white of it all is going to be coming mid next week. But what I can tell you is that we've already made some really big strides in terms of the filtration systems that have been put into all of our ships. Are going to ensure the highest level of filtration, 100% fresh air coming in all of the time. There's been a lot of talk about what the immediate return to service will look like in terms of people needing to be fully vaccinated to sail. And then, of course, there's a lot of questions about, will we have to be socially distanced on board, or will you have to wear masks, or do you have to take shore excursions that are just the cruise lines? And if you take a look at what the CDC has now made public, even though Celebrity Cruises has not made our health and safety protocols public yet, I think the writing is on the wall, because in looking at what the CDC has put out there, masks are not going to be required. Shore excursions, you'll probably be able to get off and do your own thing depending on the port of call or the country. That might vary from place to place. Social distancing is on Celebrity, it doesn't sound like, according to what the CDC is publishing, is going to be required. So there's so many things that if we were to talk about health and safety protocols 6 months ago, compared to now that we're actually getting to restart and how vaccination levels have picked up, I think that a lot of the things that people had concerns about in terms of, will that impact my vacation in a negative way, I don't even think is going to be really a part of the vacation at all. So the other thing that is really important, ladies and gentlemen, for me just to be clear about with you, I'm on a call tonight on the Zoom platform with mostly Canadians. And so that's a little different than if I'm on with Americans. And so when we look at what most of you are wanting to book right now, 90% or more of Canadians are looking to book their 22 vacation, not their June 21 vacation. And so it's really important to know that even when you get a more in-depth announcement next week about the health and safety protocols for Celebrity Cruises, you have to ask yourself, am I wanting this information as it relates to the cruise that starts up in June, as in just a few weeks from now? Or do I want the information about how it affects my cruise for booking into 22 or 23? Because what we want to be very careful about is that we want you to recognize that this will continue to evolve and things will continue to get better and easier in terms of what the health and safety protocols or restrictions look like. And so if you're planning on booking something for spring or summer or fall or winter of 2022, what we launch on Wednesday probably isn't even going to be relevant, because a lot is going to change by that time. So I know that's difficult, because anybody buying a vacation right now wants to have the assurance of knowing, what is the cruise line doing to keep me safe? And what you'll see on Wednesday will be what we're doing to keep people safe and healthy on our immediate return to service. But just in the back of your mind, keep in mind that if it's 22 or 23 that you're looking at booking, things are going to change, things are going to loosen up. If anything, it's just going to look a whole lot better and easier for you. So I just wanted to make sure that we kind of tabled that. Now, one thing that I did want to mention to you is that we understand that COVID coverage is an important consideration. We also understand that depending on the travel insurance provider, not many of them have a COVID coverage. And so what we have done to kind of mitigate that and help with a solution for you is that we have actually created our own COVID-19 assistance policy that is built into the cruise fare when you buy a cruise with Celebrity. So this is our way of saying we recognize the importance of having proper coverage for COVID. We're not going to be reliant on a third-party travel insurance policy to cover you for this. And if you test positive for COVID 14 days prior to the cruise, you can get a full refund. If you show up at the pier and you test positive, a full refund. And if you booked your flights with Flights by Celebrity, we're covering your way home, not just giving your money back, but getting you home as well. If you come up with positive on board the ship, it's 100% refund or prorated based on the number of days. Full medical coverage, if indeed you'd require any, we'll cover that for you on board. And then we'll also cover the cost to make sure to get you home. This is applicable to your immediate family, those traveling in the same cabin, those identified as a close contact to you. And to qualify for this, we have this in place until October 31st of 21. So it's a big deal. It's something that we basically said we understand that you want assurances, and we're willing to go out and self fund this to make sure that you have it. We've also built in a lot of technology to start to make sure that if you don't need to be gathering for things like muster drill, etc., there's ways around that. So our Muster 2.0 app is very much a very easy way to start to not have to do some of the things that you're used to gathering on board to do, i.e. the muster drills. If you'd prefer to just check what's happening with our restaurants, etc., you can do that on the app, and you can actually line up and go in a virtual queue for the restaurant of your choice, etc. If you want to manage your payments, you don't need to wait in a line for guest relation. You can just do that all through the app. So we're really working hard on making sure that the technology keeps up with what you're asking for, which is less crowds, less hassle. Let me just manage most stuff through the app. Another thing I just wanted to mention for you this evening in regards to changes that we've made to our brand is that we decided during this pause to rethink how we sell our cruises. And we are known as a new luxury cruise line. We don't believe that our guests should feel ever like they're being nickeled and dimed. And one of the ways to look after that is to make sure that we have a lot of those benefits just included in what we do. So our new pricing model is referred to as always included. And with always included, our lead-in cruise fare always includes unlimited drinks, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic. It includes unlimited Wi-Fi for 2 devices, and it includes your prepaid gratuities. So some of those things can really add up, and all 3 of those are just always included moving forward. That's part of our new pricing structure, and I think that really takes away any feeling like you're getting nickeled and dimed on your cruise, because you don't need to be pulling out your CPAS card every time that you want to order a glass of wine or a beer or a beverage. It's just included, and that's a beautiful thing. So that's something that's new in our world in terms of that restructure. Now, tonight's focus is mostly going to be on the destinations. However, I do want to show you a couple of things about the onboard experience, because if you've never stayed in a suite before, if you've never done the retreat experience with Celebrity, we've noticed a really significant trend of all of the bookings over the last few months booking up into aqua class, into concierge class, into the retreat. And I think it's, for the simple fact we've all been locked at home and staying home for a lot longer than we'd like to. And we didn't get to take the holiday in 2020 that we wanted. And maybe we didn't get our 2021 one either. So the retreat is our suite class experience, which is a lot more than just buying a bigger, nicer stateroom. It's also including a whole lot of amenities in terms of special VIP access, unlimited specialty dining, a private sun deck and plunge pool area for you, retreat attendants to lend a hand, etc. If you want to treat yourself, and I think a lot of us do coming out of this pandemic and getting back to being able to travel again, I really would encourage you to have a conversation with your travel professional from Expedia about just doing the comparative about how much more is it to move into the retreat, and how much more do I get in terms of additional amenities and benefits if I were to take that step up. And I'm sure you'll probably be surprised at how much is included for how much the upgrade is. So just wanted to kind of make a quick mention about that, because I think the value is definitely there in spades. But the onboard experience for Celebrity continues to really focus on health, wellness, We have more square footage dedicated to spa and fitness and vitality than any other major cruise line. And that really shows across the entire fleet now. And when you take a look at the evenings, Celebrity is not a sleepy cruise line. We have a lot in terms of onboard experience and entertainment to enjoy. And that doesn't mean that you have to be out at a show every night, but I think it does mean people want to explore and take advantage of some of our specialty dining, or check out our world-class bar or our martini bars or the Grand Plaza, just to kind of have a great evening out and experience some of these wonderful venues. So not going to spend a lot of time on that, but they say pictures paint 1,000 words. So we can at least kind of showcase where Celebrity has gone as a brand. It's referred to in the industry now as new luxury. And I think when you see the look and the feel of the design, and primarily it was the design of our Edge series ships, but now we're taking all of that design and we have something called the Celebrity Revolution, where we bring the look and the feel of the Celebrity Edge series ships, and we're putting them on all of our ships. We're putting them on all of our Millennium class ships. We're putting it on all of our Solstice class ships. So it's not normal to set a wake up call for 9 p.m., but I think that one of the nice things about Celebrity being a new luxury cruise line compared to maybe some of the more traditional luxury lines is that when you look at what some of the other lines don't have in the evenings, that's one of the areas that really separates us apart, is the entertainment, the amount of it, and the caliber and choices that you have. So we really wanted to impress upon you that aside from the fact that we build some of the most award-winning ships in the industry, some of the stuff that we're doing with our itineraries is very innovative, etc. The onboard experience is also a big part of what people know Celebrity for. And the culinary, we're known as one of the best culinary cruise lines in the world. So that said, we'll get into kind of what I think a lot of you want to see. And before I launch into this, because I'm going to go fairly quickly, there are a lot of slides. There's just a couple of things I want you to know. First of all, I handpicked just some of our itineraries that I think that you might want to see. This probably represents, a quarter of what our full deployment is. So it's not possible in an hour or less to kind of get through everything that we would do, but I want to at least showcase a little bit of what we do for you. And I want to also just make mention that as I show you the slides, you'll see pricing that has been X'd out with a red price beside it. And that's the Expedia rates. And so Expedia is our best partner in North America. And they do have special pricing on many Celebrity departures. And you'll see a little bit of that tonight. So to jump into it, one of the things that I wanted to mention, especially for those of you that might be on with us tonight that haven't sailed with Celebrity before, Celebrity does have bragging rights that we have more overnight stays than any other major cruise line. So we're in Europe right now, and so I'm just using this as an example. We actually have this all around the world, but just using Europe as an example. For 2022, we have 54 overnight stays in Europe. That's a big deal. It's more overnight stays than any other major cruise line. It's a commitment to that nighttime tourism and that destination immersion. And when you go to Europe, you don't want to be leaving at 3 or 4 in the afternoon from a lot of these amazing ports of call. You want to be staying overnight, or at least a late night departure, so that you can have a cappuccino and do some people watching in the square or one of the seaside cafes, etc. And we understand that, and that's really what we're working hard on. So 54 overnight stays in 22, and that's a differentiating factor which kind of sets Celebrity apart from a lot of other cruise lines. Now we do have an awesome itinerary which does Italy, Turkey, and the Greek islands, and that's going out of Rome. And you can see the pricing there. So just in the respecting your time tonight, because we do have a lot of content to get through in terms of the destinations, I won't go through all of the classes and all of the pricing, but if you see the itinerary, if it's part of the world that you're interested in, you can just make a quick note of it and you can follow up with your professional from Expedia and they can kind of look that up for you. But what I love on these slides is just showing why Expedia is your go-to. So if you took this one as an example, when you see the veranda price point, the celebrities website pricing is $59.62 per person on this itinerary for this 12 night. Expedia's rate is $47.54. So it's a massive differential between what celebrities website is if you're hunting around tonight on your iPad and looking at pricing. Unless you make that call to Expedia and let them hunt down their rate, you might be missing out on a very, very compelling offer that's better than what the market has. So that's our Celebrity Edge, which is one of our brand new Edge series ships. And that's running in the fall of 22 for that 12 night. Beautiful itinerary, including getting into Kusadasi so that you can make the day trip into Ephesus, which I think is one of the most amazing places that you can explore on a cruise. Great shot of Santorini. Greenland and Iceland. If this is a part of the world that you have not explored yet, we have a beautiful 12 night on the Celebrity Summit. And again, Expedia having some fantastic rates on this. So that's our Greenland and Iceland 12 night on Celebrity Summit in August. So we've added more departures on that itinerary or that part of the world based on request because it's a lot of demand for it. Now, here's one that I think is absolutely awesome for a couple of reasons. One is it's on the Celebrity Apex, which is our brand new ship. We didn't even get to have the inaugural yet on her because COVID came in. And so she's brand new. She's waiting to take her first passengers, and she will be sailing in 2022 out of Amsterdam and doing 12 night Scandinavia, Russia. Lots of gorgeous ports of call on this itinerary. I love the fact that you have overnights in St. Petersburg on this one. I love the fact that it goes out of Amsterdam. A lot of you will be going out of gateways in the Alberta marketplace like Calgary and Edmonton, and there is a pretty easy air into Amsterdam. And for those of you that haven't spent a lot of time in Europe, you know, I worked many years for tour operators in Europe, and I would say Amsterdam is a city you want to spend a few nights in. So considering this goes out of Amsterdam, you could fly in pre or post for a few nights and get to see the Rijksmuseum and the Van Gogh Museum and the Anne Frank House and just all of the amazing architecture and canals of Amsterdam. So I think that's a great one, not to mention the itinerary is beautiful on our newest ship and great pricing from Expedia on that one as well. So that would be one to kind of maybe make note of. Israel and the Med. So again, on Apex for next fall, a lot of great opportunity to go out of Rome, do a couple of ports of call for Israel, getting back into Turkey to do Kusadasi, getting into Athens so you can have some time in Greece. Beautiful itinerary. So that's a 12 night. And then Spain and France. So, you know, another really beautiful part of the world to be checking out. This one actually going out of Southampton. So for air, very easy air from Canada into the UK. And this one is on our beautiful Celebrity Silhouette as a 9-night sailing. So if you haven't checked out the coast of France or kind of the Spanish Riviera, then this would certainly be something to take a look at with the Celebrity Silhouette. And moving on to a little bit closer to home, because I know most of you are from Western Canada, Alaska. Now, one quick mention, and I know Scarlett did touch on this, everything I'm going to show you here tonight is based on going to Alaska in 2022. But as Scarlett mentioned, we did just make an announcement that there is actually going to be Alaska cruises this summer in 21 going out of Seattle. So if you are fully vaccinated and you are ready to get back on one of the ships and you're willing to do what you need to do for whatever the Canadian government is saying we have as travel restrictions right now, or maybe that'll be easing up as the summer months come along. We are going to be going out of Seattle this summer, and then for next summer we're going to have a lot of great options out of Vancouver and Seattle, 3 ships on the West Coast. So we are doing 7-night round trip sailings out of Vancouver on the award-winning Celebrity Eclipse. It's a beautiful revolutionized Solstice class ship. It does Hubbard Glacier, which every time I've been up to Hubbard Glacier, this is where you can see the ice calving. We get right up close to the glacier there. You do the full inside passage when you go out of Vancouver. You can enjoy Sitka, you can get up into Juneau and Ketchikan. I think my kids and my family have done this annually for 5, if not 6 years, just before COVID came in. So even though it's an itinerary that we've experienced more than once or twice, every year we look forward to going back out of Vancouver and doing that inside passage. And it truly is a magical destination. So we're always excited to be heading up to Alaska. Also, there's a in-depth long Alaska Explorer in September, and that one is on the Celebrity Eclipse as well. And when you think about it, like if you look at the inside rate, you can start off on a special Expedia pricing here for just over 2,400 for 11 nights on a long Alaska. What a amazing offer and a great itinerary. So that's something to take a look at as well. We really have a lot of special, itineraries and how we experience Alaska. And so I think this picture really kind of says it all when we get up into Endicott Arm. This is the kind of thing you never forget in your life. And it's very, very unique and special. There's an Alaska open jaw itinerary as well for those of you that would like to fly up and maybe head out of Seward and just slowly make your way back to Vancouver. So that's our beautiful Celebrity Millennium. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the Celebrity Millennium is one of those ships that we talked about that has been completely revolutionized. So all of the look and the feel inside, even though she's an older ship, you wouldn't know it now because we ended up gutting those staterooms right down to the studs and rebuilding them back in as Edge caliber staterooms with the look, the feel, all of the creature comforts. So it's a mini Celebrity Edge, if you will, that's going back and forth out of Vancouver. So that's kind of exciting as well. There's a great shot of what I was mentioning for Hubbard Glacier, and you can get so close on some of the days up to that glacier. It's just hard to believe it's possible on a major cruise ship. A really cool itinerary to take a look at as well. If you haven't done a Pacific Coastal, we are offering Pacific Coastals on that same ship. So Millennium is doing September dates for Pacific Coastals. You get on in Vancouver, you disembark in Los Angeles, you get to hit Victoria, Astoria, San Francisco, Santa Barbara, Catalina Island. So what a great way to kind of start your fall adventure. And then if you want to tack on a couple of extra days and maybe make this a 2-week stay, have some land time down in California, what a great itinerary to be able to do that with as well. We have not visited the sunshine of Mexico for 8 years. And we're really excited to be going back to Mexico. So for 2022, we are going to be doing 2 different styles of Mexico itineraries. We'll be doing a 7-night Mexican Riviera, and we'll be doing an 8-night Mexican Riviera. On the 8-night, you actually get an overnight in Cabo. And this is doing Puerto Vallarta, you're doing Mazatlan, you're getting into Ensenada. The overnight in Cabo obviously is a big deal, but if you like the Mexican sunshine and you like the Mexican Riviera and the beaches, this could be for you. And we're really excited to be heading back to Mexico after a bit of a hiatus. Once again, Expedia does have some exclusive rates that are lower than what Celebrity's website is pricing at right now. So if you like the thought of sailing with us to Mexico for next year, please talk to your professional from Expedia Cruises. For the Caribbean, lots and lots of product. This was very difficult to even try and start to kind of pick what to showcase because we have a huge portfolio for the Caribbean. But we do have a great 7-night Eastern on the new ship that I was mentioning, the Celebrity Apex, out of Fort Lauderdale, doing St. Thomas, St. Kitts, getting into San Juan in Puerto Rico, and some great pricing there. If you look at our Infinite Veranda rate, normal rate $28.69 on the Celebrity website, $19.12 through Expedia. So what a great reason to be talking to the team from Expedia about this Apex sailing for the 7-night Eastern. We also have 7-night Western, and so hitting places like Grand Cayman, getting into Falmouth, Jamaica, getting over and spending the day in Cozumel. Absolutely fantastic itinerary, one that's kind of near and dear to my heart because I'm fortunate enough to be on a lot of cruises. We spend a lot of time in Cozumel, the snorkeling there, the day trips to explore some of the different beach resorts. Just a fantastic destination and a good playground to spend some time in. Here's a great one as well. Millennium doing 7-night Southern Caribbean. So if you wanted to get into the British Virgin Islands, get into Martinique, getting into Barbados and Grenada, fantastic. And so 2 sea days, but a lot of exploring there, and Expedia having special rates to book into for that Millennium. We have a 9-night Aruba, Curacao, and Grand Cayman cruise. So if you like the looks of these destinations and these have been on your wish list or hit list, then certainly that's something to take a look at with us as well. Celebrity Edge does a great 10-night Southern Caribbean. And when you take a look at the itinerary map here, you can see why this is a perfect itinerary. Fly into Fort Lauderdale, maybe spend a couple of pre-nights in Fort Lauderdale just to enjoy the beaches in Florida, and then hop on this and you got close to a 2-week trip of just sunshine and relaxation, and that's on the beautiful Celebrity Edge. And then I love this one because you're getting down and getting to spend some time in Cartagena. You get into Cologne. We actually go into Costa Rica on this itinerary for the Constellation. So this 11-night Southern does go down just a little further, and that's a pretty special itinerary as well. So like I said, really hard to choose what we were going to showcase for you tonight because there's so much to pick from. But whatever your taste is in terms of duration, I think we probably have something that's going to be a fit. We also do position a ship out of Cape Liberty in New York. And what a lot of people will do is they'll fly from Alberta into New York, spend 3 nights in New York before the cruise, and they'll make it a, hit a theater show, do a shopping trip in New York. If you haven't had the experience of exploring the Big Apple, that in itself is just an awesome experience. But if you can tie it in with doing kind of a 3-day package in New York and then getting on for some rest and relaxation, heading out to Bermuda with us, even better. So that's a pretty special one for Celebrity Summit. Of course, we do the Panama Canal. I did want to just make mention to you about our Panama Canal. We either go from LA to Fort Lauderdale or the reverse, Fort Lauderdale to LA, and our Panama Canal trips are 15-night durations. However, new for 22, we are going to be doing some trans canals on the Celebrity Edge round trip out of Fort Lauderdale. So that's not normally something that we do, but we're expanding our portfolio. And if you did want to have just a simple round trip out of Fort Lauderdale, then you can talk with your Expedia experts about the trans canals on the Celebrity Edge for November or December of 22. And getting a little further abroad, The eclipse and the solstice, we've got Asia, Australia, New Zealand, and this is an area of the world that we have some really gorgeous itineraries on as well. So when you take a look, for example, and again, I just handpicked a few. There's a ton more to take a look at if you're interested in Asia with us. But we do have a 12-night Vietnam and Thailand, and you can see there on the map that that's pretty in depth over the course of a week and a half, and some great Expedia pricing there. Um, this Asia, all of our deployment in Asia, I think we've built a really good reputation in that part of the world for delivering luxury, but really getting to explore some pretty unique places as well. So the solstice, we will have the best of Japan, which is actually a 12-night exploration. And on the surveys that our guests complete after the cruise, Galapagos always ranks the highest, but some of these Japan cruises rank very, very high as well, that in the Adriatic. But if that hasn't been something that you've considered, you might want to just think about why people are raving about it, maybe put it on your wish list. We've got a great 12-night southern Japan as well. But lots of time to explore, and probably the beaches and the coastline might look a little bit different than what you originally would have thought about for exploring Japan. Getting into the South Pacific, we do offer a lot of great itineraries based out of Sydney. One of them just to take a look at is we've got the Great Barrier Reef Cruise, which is a 10-night out of Sydney on the Celebrity Eclipse, getting all the way up into Port Douglas, and you go to Cairns. We stop in Airlie Beach. We hit Eden on this one. So lots of really amazing coastline and ports of call to explore for Australia. And so again, a really special part of the world. And if you're doing a lot of traveling and this is a part of the world that you haven't yet seen, seeing it by cruise ship, especially with a brand that the consistency of the culinary and the entertainment and what the standards are for our inclusions and our amenities, I think that Celebrity is a really safe bet to be exploring this part of the world in. Out of Sydney, we also get down into New Zealand. And so you can see there on September 24th, we've got a great explorer to kind of see the best of New Zealand. And there you go, a great shot of Milford Sound. If you want to see some of the South Pacific Islands, for 22, we have a 13-night South Pacific on the Celebrity Eclipse, really exploring the best of these small and out-of-the-way South Pacific islands. There really isn't any way to explore some of these Polynesian destinations other than by cruising it. And so what a lot of people do is they'll either book this cruise to just simply explore some of these South Pacific islands, or the other thing that sometimes they'll do is we do run a ship from Vancouver via the Hawaiian Islands, via the South Pacific Islands, finishing up in Sydney. And then to start the Alaska season, the ships come back and you leave Sydney, you go through all of the South Pacific Islands, you go through the Hawaiian Islands, and then back to Vancouver. So when you combine it, it's 28 or 29 nights that you have. So you're cruising for almost a month. But if you fly to Australia and just take the ship all the way back, that's a bucket list trip for sure. So getting the best of the South Pacific, get to spend a couple of nights in Sydney if you like, and then get those South Pacific Islands, get the Hawaiian Islands, and get a month of just being pampered by Celebrity with new luxury. So that's kind of a special thought as well. And then South America, we do position for South America as well. If this is a part of the world that you have not yet had the good fortune to explore, lots of beautiful feedback about a very special part of the world as we go around the Horn down there. So we do go out of Valparaiso and you can finish up in Buenos Aires. and kind of see the very best of all of the coastline as you head down. And we do get to explore some really interesting places in Patagonia and Ushuaia. So again, maybe you've done, the Caribbean or Alaska or different parts of the world multiple times. If you haven't yet added this to your to-do list to get down to South America, this seems like it would be a very luxurious way to get to experience a very special part of the world. So that's getting down into South America. We actually have Antarctica cruises as well. And I know that as people start to kind of check off bucket list trips, this seems to be on a lot of people's list. So if Antarctica was a someday we're going to get there, maybe your someday can be 2022, since we've all been stuck at home and getting to dream about what we want to do for our next vacation. And even on very special programs like our Antarctica, Expedia does have special pricing as our partner. So you can see that, for example, to head down with us to do the Antarctica September of 22, you can get a starting price point. $44.63 is Celebrity's website pricing. $35.78 is the Expedia pricing. What a great start point to be able to explore Antarctica and some of that very unique part of South America. And then kind of finally, as far as the destinational stuff goes, just wanted to showcase for you a very unique program that we run. This is not like anything else that we do, because this is 3 vessels that are all much, much smaller and more intimate than what we run in other parts of the world. And that's fitting for this very special destination. So the Galapagos Islands have been, since I've been with Celebrity, which is 14 years now, consistently ranked the highest satisfaction ratios on guest surveys from any of the brands in our company. It's really amazing how this Galapagos experience tends to affect people. So our Galapagos programs are a total all-inclusive package. The only thing you need to do is get yourself down to Quito, and we take you from there. So we include the round trip flight from Quito to Baltra, which is where the ship is on the coastline. All of your park fees are included, all of your beverages are included, all of the gratuities, all of the onboard programming is included. Any of the national park fees are included. The national or naturalists from the Galapagos that work with us to showcase everything for you every day, they're all included. Snorkeling equipment is included. The use of binoculars and bathrobe is included. There's really nothing that you're dipping into your pocket for when you explore the Galapagos with Celebrity. And, whatever you're feeling, there's going to be something there for you. We have a choice every day of low, medium, or high impact adventure. And whatever you're in the mood for, there's going to be something for you. So advanced snorkeling, coastal explorations, kayaking, off-beach excursions, hiking on some of the islands, just getting up nice and close with the marine life and the wildlife there. They have no natural fear of humans, so you can get right up closer than you'd ever think possible to wildlife. And that's probably part of what makes this such an amazing experience. Normally for these presentations, we would show a lot more videos, but we're just trying to be respectful of time. But the slide there that you are seeing with the sea line there, that's actually taken by one of my colleagues that took her kids, and that's her personal GoPro footage. And she was just trying to showcase that we're not using some kind of promotional footage. It's like everything people say about your interaction with all of the marine life and the wildlife down there. It's truly amazing, and you come home feeling different about things because you got to spend close-up time with creatures that in other parts of the world just doesn't get to happen. So we do have an all suites vessel in the Galapagos called Celebrity Flora. It's brand new. It's the most luxurious vessel in the Galapagos. It's 100 passengers. In terms of the categories of stateroom, it's all suites. We also have a gorgeous ultra modern luxury yacht for 48 passengers called the Celebrity Expedition. And then we've got something really intimate, which is a high-end luxury catamaran called Celebrity Exploration, and that's a 16 passenger count. Really big with people that are taking their family and just doing one special trip, maybe a little family reunion for 16 people, and you take it over. That happens a lot. So that's what we run down in the Galapagos, and super unique destination. A lot of time spent with the naturalists so that they can go over what you saw that day, review your photos with you, educate you a little bit on maybe some of the stuff that you saw that you didn't have the background on. And when I say that we get to explore this really amazing part of the world, but do it in a very luxurious way, for example, this is our penthouse suite on the Celebrity Flora. So when you take a look at this, I think that this really showcases what new luxury is all about. It's floor to ceiling glass. When you're exploring the Galapagos, you don't want to miss a thing. So the ship is designed to make sure that you won't. Here's a great shot of the Sky Suite with veranda. So very modern, very sophisticated, a great accommodation to come home after a day of adventure. Nothing much in the way of entertainment on our Galapagos program because you wouldn't need it. Really, the full day is spent exploring, adventuring, experiencing, and by the time you come back from that and we prepare Celebrity's culinary for you, you have a great dinner, maybe outside al fresco, and then you spend some time with our naturalists and you're probably ready to turn in for the night and get ready for another day of adventure in the Galapagos. So we do offer a 7-night inner loop, a 7-night outer loop, southern loops. We've got 10, 11, and 16-night packages. So there are a lot of choices that you can make in terms of where you would want to experience in the Galapagos. And a lot of people say, two main questions that come up. What's the best time of the year to go to the Galapagos? The Galapagos Islands are on the equator, so there's no bad time to go to the Galapagos because it's always good weather in the Galapagos Islands being on the equator. It's one of the only programs that we actually run 52 weeks a year because it's always good weather down there. And then the other thing is, what loop is the best loop? So that's a really difficult question because that's like saying, what art piece is the best art piece? It's really up to the beholder. And in the Galapagos, I think the way that you would probably decide it is in the Celebrity website, in our Celebrity brochures that the Expedia team has, it gives a bit of a breakdown of what you can expect from the different ports of call or islands. And all of them are known for different things, different marine life, different animal life, whatever makes those particular islands unique or special. And so you can kind of peruse that and decide for yourself, out of all of the amazing things that you can experience in the Galapagos, which ones resonate most with you. And that will help you determine whether you're doing a inner loop, an outer loop, a southern loop, what is it that you want to see. And if this is going to be your one big trip of a lifetime down to this part of the world, I think the other thing that you should keep in mind is that we do actually offer a 16-night package where we take you into Quito. You have 2 nights pre-cruise, pardon me, and we put you up at the JW Marriott. It's the nicest resort in Quito. You really get a great start in a World Heritage city with some city tours and some great accommodations. Then you take your 7-night Galapagos cruise. You have 2 nights post in Lima, where again, city tours and some adventure in Lima. And then we're going to take you up and we're going to do the Sacred Valley. We're going to get you up into Machu Picchu. We're going to experience Cusco. And then we're going to have 1 night in Lima before we head back. So I think that there's a lot of interest in Galapagos. I think so far, what we're seeing right now in terms of forward bookings into 22, this has probably been the best time for us, maybe ever, for Galapagos bookings coming in. Galapagos is definitely resonating with people right now. And the only thing that I would say is that out of all the choices that we have down there in the Galapagos, if you don't think you're going to be back to this part of the world anytime soon, treat yourself, do the 16 night and have the add-on for Machu Picchu. That's going to be something else that you can check off the bucket list to say we made it. And I'm sure you've seen lots of pictures and lots of footage of Machu Picchu, but nothing does it justice like actually getting to experience it. So that's a really special part of the world that we're really proud to do what we do in. We do offer right now an air offer to book into the Galapagos with us. So you can talk to your consultant at Expedia, but Celebrity for the most part is covering the majority of your air ticket to get down to Quito. It depends what gateway you want to fly out of and when, but the air credit amount, I know I had some people that just booked a couple weeks ago out of Vancouver, and out of the Vancouver gateway, the credit amount was enough to get them round trip air to Quito. Hopefully it'll be close to that for Calgary and Edmonton. But the air credit is really solid. It's $1,500 US per couple, and that does get to convert if you're buying in Canadian for your booking. So that does tend to cover very close to, if not all of, your round trip air to Quito. And then last, before I show you the booking offer that we have and kind of some of the things to give you some peace of mind, I did want to show you a few slides here of the Celebrity Beyond. So if you are a Celebrity fan, and if you have seen Celebrity ships before, we did change some things with Celebrity Beyond. This ship is actually bigger than her Edge sister ships. She's taller. We've added an additional deck. And this is just such an incredibly special ship in terms of setting the bar for what luxury looks like. So we are now doing some things that we don't really offer on some of our other ships. So you can see here that we've got Aqua Class Sky Suites. I really think that these next couple of slides are just to let you see the pictures to showcase where Celebrity's going as a brand, what, when we say, quote, new luxury, what that looks like and feels like. And so they've done an amazing job of really kind of setting the bar for what luxury cruising looks like. Our infinite veranda, that's a really cool concept that was first born on our Edge series ships and continues to evolve. It's got your French closing glass doors there, and on the other side of that, the entire wall slides down halfway, and that floor to ceiling glass and that window that moves down becomes your veranda. But if you don't have your veranda open and the glass is up, think of how much more living space that is for you. You just open up the French doors, and what would usually be unused patio space is now your indoor living space. So really smart design. I really enjoyed staying in one of those when we were on the Edge. The resort deck, even bigger resort deck. It's tiered and terraced. It's got the longest lap pool of any major cruise ship at sea right now. And just a really clean look there for what the resort deck looks like. Some of these small kind of terraced areas for feeling like you're removed a little bit from the pool area if you like that. Or we've got the private cabina areas, which face outward to the ocean instead of facing towards the pool, which that's nice as well. We've got this really amazing rooftop garden, and we've learned some things along the way. So we've built a lot more wind buffers so that it's nice and calm up there, even on the sea days for you. You can see the cantilevered float pools that actually stick over the edge of the ship. So 6.5 feet off the side of the ship for these freshwater float pools for you to enjoy. But you can see every detail has been revised and updated to just kind of make this a more luxurious experience. And our ambassador for design, Nate Burkus, and what he's done with the Sunset Bar. This is a multi-terraced back of the ship sunset, drinks, and just enjoy probably what will be my favorite part of the ship, with a Moroccan theme. So that's the Sunset Bar. So I know that we ran a little long on time. I'm not going to kind of dive into anything more. We do have Daniel Balut as our global culinary ambassador, and all of our menus, if you take a look online at what we're offering in our main dining rooms, I think you'll see it's of the caliber of what a lot of cruise lines offer in their specialty dining restaurants. So we continue to kind of win a lot of recognition there for what we do in the world of culinary. And the Celebrity Beyond will be doing both Europe for Mediterranean itineraries as well as the Caribbean out of Fort Lauderdale. So now I want to tell you about the offer that Expedia has. And I want to just remind you that when you talk with Expedia about making your booking for 22 or 23, all of the Expedia pricing, even those lower than market rates that we showcased tonight, the starting price point includes the unlimited classic alcohol package, which is your alcoholic beverages and your non-alcoholic beverages. And if you've ever run into an experience where you sailed with somebody else and they had a beverage package, but you had to pay the gratuity on top of it, we're not like that. Our beverage package does include your gratuity as well. So no nickel and diming. Your gratuities are prepaid. Your Wi-Fi for 2 devices is included. And if you want to upgrade into Elevate or Indulge, where you get an upgrade to the premium beverage package and you can get some shore excursion credits, etc., you can do that for $39 per person per day to move up into those additional categories as well. So one thing that I just want to put your mind at ease before I show you the show offer, we know that even if you like the itineraries that you saw tonight, and even if you think that Expedia pricing is great, there's going to be some of you that are going to say, we kind of just want to wait and see a little bit more, like how's the world going to shape up? We designed our Cruise with Confidence policy to basically help you feel comfortable with proceeding ahead with a booking, knowing you're protected. So as part of Cruise with Confidence, as long as your cruise is booked before July 31st, we will protect you that if you want to cancel for any reason, we will issue you 100% of your money back into a future cruise credit. So that's a big deal because you don't need any particular reason. It's not like travel insurance. You can just say, I don't want to go. We've got a change of circumstance, whatever that happens to be, and you can park your money back into a future cruise credit. So that's our cancel for any reason peace of mind that's built under this Cruise with Confidence policy, and you can invoke it right up to 48 hours prior to sailing, okay? The second part of the Cruise with Confidence program is that if the cruise line drops the rate, you are allowed right up to 48 hours prior to sailing to basically get the differential. We don't want you to feel like you got penalized for booking early. And that's why the best price guarantee is also built in and is also right up to 48 hours prior to sailing. So if you know you can change your mind for any reason and just get your money back into an FCC or a future cruise credit, and if you know that if the price ends up dropping, which I don't think it will, by the way, our ships are filling very fast for 2022. I think that's the effect of having, a year and a half of canceled vacations and everybody now moving into 22. But if it did, at least you've got the peace of mind that you're protected there. So now let me go over the show offer with you just so that you guys have a clear understanding of what this show offer is. So the show offer is going to be 3 big perks plus $350 USD onboard credit per stateroom, plus a $25 casino credit to enjoy. That's going to be for any new bookings that are veranda and above, for any January through June 22 Caribbean. It's also applicable to all 22 Europe, except on our new ship, the Beyond. And if there's a destination that you wanted to sail that is not Q1, Q2 Caribbean, or is not 22 Europe, then we will give a $100 onboard credit and the 3 perks for all of the other destinations, except for Galapagos. And the reason we don't do it on Galapagos is already a total all-inclusive product. So the booking dates for this offer are June 3rd through June 12th. So you have enough time between now and June 3rd to have the conversation with your professionals at Expedia, find the ship and the date that you want. If it is Q1, Q2 Caribbean or 2022 Europe, then you've got the 3 big perks plus the $350 USD plus the $25 casino credit, as long as it's veranda or above, new bookings only. And for any of the other destinations, same offer, but just a slightly lower onboard credit. And that's what the show offer is going to be. So I apologize because I know we were trying to shoot for a little lower on kind of the time slot for tonight. I hope you guys found that interesting. And Scarlett, I wanted to open it up to see if you've got some questions that might have come into the Q&A that we can address.
Thank you very much, Chad. Just a last reminder, if you have any questions, quickly type them in the chat feature. Right now, there was a few questions earlier, but I think Randy already addressed them. One question was the pricing that were on the slides. They are the always included pricing. So they include the port charges, but the government fees are additional. Am I correct on that, Chad?
When we pulled those pricings to build the slides, they were all in. So that was NCCF and cruise fare. So taxes would be additional, but port fees are part of the NCCF part of it. So
okay, great. Melody, you asked a question in regards to your travel credits or cruise credits, and like Randy said, just reach out to your consultant because every travel credit is a little bit different and the expiry date, so your travel consultant will be able to answer all of those questions for you.
Could I just mention though, if somebody does have a future cruise credit to use with Celebrity, we have blanketed all of the future cruise credits out there and extended, because they initially had cutoffs of May 31st of 22. And we did do a blanket extension for all FCCs that now you can sail on them right up till September 30th of 2022. So I absolutely agree. The best plan is to have a conversation with your consultant at Expedia so they can look at what the details are of your FCC. But just as a general note, you do have until September 30th to actually sail on them. Great.
Thank you, Mary, for your comment. I know you said you traveled on the 16-night. I think you were talking about the Galapagos cruise. There was a 16-night itinerary, and you said it was a trip of a lifetime. So thank you for that comment. Randy from the Valley View office has put the link in for our next travel talk, which will be Paul Gauguin Cruises, and they will be featuring the South Pacific. So there is the link there if you wanted to register for next Thursday's travel talk. Roger asked, 3 big perks equals always package. So I think in your show offer, you mentioned the 3 perks. I'm assuming, Roger, you're asking if they were already included in the perk. It's just basically the $350 shipboard credit and then the casino credit as well. Is that correct, Chad?
Yeah, so correct. So our 3 perks are always going to be built into our pricing, always going to be built into the Expedia rates now. So whether you book with the show offer or not, you can always expect those 3 perks, but the other layers that are stacking on top generally aren't there. So that's part of our show offer incentive.
Okay. If you don't want the always included pricing, is there ever a base price where you're just getting the bottom level, no gratuities included, no drinks. Can you purchase something like that?
You know, it's a complicated question to answer. The short answer is yes, but it's kind of like hunt and peck about whether you'll see it, because there is a new rate that has come out into the market called Simply Sail. And Simply Sail is a lower price point without those three perks. However, it's not readily available. It just gets turned on when we need a little bit of help on a sailing for it to move or it to fill. So you might see it pop up on Monday and you might see it disappear on Wednesday. It's just a tactical thing that will appear from time to time. So as a standard, what's available for you, the three perk always included rate is always going to be there. As a tactical pop up and pop out, you might see the Simply Sail rates without any perks, but with not a lot of consistency to them. Sorry for having to answer it that way, but that's the reality of how that pricing will work.
All right. William, I think it's more of a comment. What if one can't fly into Quito due to altitude illness? So I'm not sure how to answer that statement or question. It makes it very difficult, unfortunately, to get to a Galapagos sailing.
Yeah, I mean, we can take that one offline. Technically, you can just buy the cruise component if you like out of Baltra, but I think what I'd be trying to figure out is how do we get somebody from Edmonton or Calgary to Baltra without having, you know, international flights and landing in high altitude destinations. So that could be tricky.
Yeah, all right. That is all the questions we have. I will just wrap up here and then we'll let you go. I just wanted to make a comment that our offices are all opened. Our consultants are working in the office and working from home as well. And I know in Alberta, there's been some announcements that restrictions are loosening up, which is fantastic. So more and more our offices are open and more consultants will be working in those particular offices. So we welcome you. Make sure the best is always to reach out to your consultant via phone or email, make an appointment. If you're not comfortable coming in, we can use Zoom to communicate with you so we can see each other's faces. Anything is possible. So we thank you for your past bookings. We thank you for your future bookings. We're here to help. Thank you for supporting local. Thank you, Chad, for the travel talk tonight, all of your information. Thank you to our valued customers for attending. Hopefully, Chad has inspired you to add a celebrity cruise to your list of travels, whether it be a bucket list trip or just a trip that you've always wanted to go on as well. Perhaps plan to just a pampered getaway for you and your spouse, or maybe an extended vacation where you include your kids and grandkids as well. So anything is possible with Celebrity Cruises. There's an itinerary out there for everybody.
And could I just add one more note, Scarlett? Don't wait. You know, I know a lot of people are in a frame of mind where we've got this future cruise credit. We know we're going to cruise eventually in 22. We're not ready yet. And what's happening every day is all of the people that were canceled in 2020 and then the people that were canceled again in 2021 have begun moving all of their bookings into 22. And we're seeing the ships filling a lot faster than we anticipated. And in the cruise industry, it's like a hotel. It's based on supply and demand. So as the ships fill, the prices go up. So even if you have a high value future cruise certificate that you can use in 22, the longer you wait, you're still applying that dollar amount to a cruise that might be going up in rate by the day or by the week. So it is really critical that if you think you're going to cruise with us in 22 or even early 23, the sooner you get your name on a booking, even just holding it to make sure that the pricing isn't going to move, I think you'll be very happy that you did that, because I'm watching, even for Alaska, it's blowing my mind, the price is moving. So Don't wait, do it now. Talk to Expedia this week.
Thank you, Chad, for that. And I totally agree with you on that as well. The pricing is going up, so make sure you secure your bookings for 2022 and 23. So that, again, just a reminder, our travel talk next week is with Paul Gauguin Cruises. Everybody welcome. Make sure you invite any friends or family that might enjoy those itineraries in the South Pacific as well. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for attending, and we look forward to seeing you again. Good night.
Thanks, everybody.